See you on this morning after Vassy.
Hi, Heather.
What are you hearing from your sources in the war rooms about the performances last night?
Well, I was definitely immediately texting them all as it was happening to get their take. I think the first, you mentioned it right off the top there, the fact that Justin Trudeau wasn't there. Everybody was speculating, wondering what that would mean for the debate, whether he would regret that decision. Certainly a discussion, a debate to be had about the merits of the decision and the fact that, in 2015, Justin Trudeau criticized Stephen Harper for doing the exact same thing and this time thought it wasn't necessary. However, people in the war room felt that their strategy was the correct one and that it paid off. In fact, the text I got within 15 minutes of the debate beginning was best decision we ever made. They felt like it looked as though the three others were almost competing for second place, and that's their perspective, and that they were able to remain almost like looking prime ministerial. That could change, obviously, in the consortium debate in a few weeks that the Liberal leader is actually going to attend, but that was certainly their perspective. As far as the others, both Jagmeet Singh and Elizabeth May, people in their war rooms very happy with each of their performances, especially the NDP, who took every opportunity to tell me that blame the media, I guess you could say, for the lower level of expectation going into the debate from Jagmeet Singh. They were confident that he would outperform them, and they felt that he did. As far as Andrew Scheer's camp, a couple of different messages that I was getting. Generally okay with his performance, felt that not having Trudeau there was difficult to navigate, given that they view Trudeau as their almost only competition, insofar as we know that the polls are tied, that it is largely, at this point at least, a competition between those two parties. So they felt like that was difficult for Mr. Scheer to navigate, and they had expected Jagmeet Singh and Elizabeth May to go at each other a little bit more than they ended up doing. There were some definitely points of cleavage between the two, but they had expected it to be more.
So that is the perspective of those within the respective campaigns. I'm interested in your take as well, as you've watched it. And you were just talking about Andrew Scheer there. And as you said, watching last night, it might have seemed like he was focused more on the rival who wasn't there in terms of his focus on Justin Trudeau and almost seeming to ignore the other two on the stage. Was that by design, Vassy? And did that strategy serve him well, do you think?
Yeah, it's a good question. Yes, it was by design. Again, they really view Justin Trudeau as his competition. They want that to be, just like the Liberals do, they want that to be the choice in front of voters. Andrew Scheer versus Justin Trudeau, Conservatives versus Liberals. So I think that it was by design. It's just, it was a bit odd, right? They're not all there. Debates are supposed to serve as an opportunity for Canadians to be able to stack everyone up against each other, to be able to see, okay, on these issues that matter to me, whether it be the economy, whether it be the environment, whether it be Indigenous related, how do these four compare and contrast, and what is their message to me? And when you're missing one of the four parties, one of the two which are most likely to form government, it's difficult, I think, for voters to walk away and know exactly, okay, I can make a decision now based on what I heard. And I felt like that became apparent. It was interesting, for sure, but there was a lot of talking over each other. It was difficult at times to discern exactly what point they were trying to make. And I felt like the discussion often, the moderator tried very hard, but Paul tried very hard, but the discussion often veered away to the topics they wanted to be talking about. So they were asked about the economy, and then all of a sudden we were talking about something, foreign policy, something completely different.
Certainly we've seen Canadians following. Hashtag First Debate was trending, as was Jagmeet Singh. In fact, Scheer and Trudeau are also trending now this morning. But we talked a little bit about the party feeling he over-delivered in terms of expectations. But there he was, his first appearance on the national stage as party leader. Again, give us your take on how he performed.
Well, this event and ones like it are going to be really important for Jagmeet Singh for the simple reason that the party doesn't have as much money in the bank as the Liberals and the Conservatives. So buying media is a lot harder. So buying ads, getting their message across through those kinds of mediums is more difficult versus this kind of, quote unquote free media. So an opportunity for 2 hours to be present in front of the entire country and deliver your message is one that Jagmeet Singh needed to seize on. And like I said, people in his campaign felt that he did. He's had, other than, and I know we'll talk about it in a second, other than a few candidates that he had to disqualify, he's had what I think most pundits are characterizing as a good opening first few days of this debate. A solid sort of very personal opening remarks and questions from reporters yesterday, that the lineup of people behind him, that visual to symbolize the weights for healthcare and the sort of issues with healthcare in this country and talking about what he would do about them, and then a debate performance in which, I mean, in no way was it perfect. I think that, like I said, the NDP likes to say the media has created these very low expectations, but at the same time, this is what happened with Justin Trudeau in 2015, right? The bar was very low as far as expectations were concerned, and as soon as he started outperforming them, people started taking notice. I'll be watching to see if the same happens here.
All right. You mentioned that the party leaders, all three of them, pretty much reverted to their talking points and the messages that they wanted to deliver. As far as platform, did you get any policy takeaways from the debate?
Not a lot, and that was actually kind of a disappointment. I think the difficulty, I guess, if I'm being sympathetic, is that they haven't released their full platforms yet, so they're not going to scoop themselves and deliver that all. I think there was a chance to maybe better articulate exactly where they stand on certain issues. I didn't really hear, for example, specifics about growing the economy or job protection, that kind of thing. Like, maybe that will come out later, and I know that they all have policies that are directed in those areas, but it wasn't incredibly instructive when it comes to exactly what each party is going to do. But again, that could be a function of time and given the fact that those platforms haven't yet been released. All
right. The question that you were pointing to, and I want to conclude on, is this matter of candidates. Yes, we talked about the NDP having to two candidates withdraw 2 days ago. Yesterday, one candidate for the Conservatives, one candidate for the Greens, falling by the wayside, and this is for social media postings from years ago. But it's kind of surprising, is it not, Vassy, that they would not be? So that's four now we've lost, or Canada's lost. The parties have lost. We have the NDP and then these two yesterday. Would they not be more thoroughly vetted?
Yeah, it's a great question. I feel like that's what we're all asking right now, and I feel like there needs to be a discussion about each of the parties' vetting processes. It's all of them, right? It was the Liberal candidate in Montreal prior to the campaign officially starting, the Conservative candidate yesterday, two NDP candidates, a Green candidate, all espousing these very, not good views on a number of different subjects that you would have thought would have been caught. It was interesting yesterday in the Conservatives' release. I guess they pointed to the fact that this candidate that they disqualified had a number of social media postings, and we ended up finding out that they were anti-Muslim, among other things, but that he had deleted the social media account and not been forthcoming in the vetting process. I think the issue is that to a certain degree, yes, they have to vet these candidates, but a lot of it depends on what you put forward, right? It's like any job interview. They'll do a criminal check, let's say, but they can't really talk to everybody you've ever interacted with in your history. And if you've deleted those social media accounts, even though they go through them all, how are they able to ascertain that they exist? Obviously, in this case, I think it was Press Progress had found something and brought it to the Conservative Party's attention. But, it does definitely point to that question around vetting. And in this age of everyone putting things out there publicly, that process seems to be just heightened in significance.